Hi, it's Ulysses Carlson here. I absolutely love watching film adaptations of the stories of Stephen King. I've been going back and revisiting a lot of those on my channel lately, and today we're going back to a little gem from 1983 that was directed by John Carpenter, one of my all-time favorite horror directors. The movie we're looking at today is Christine. I'm going to unbox this release and I will share my opinions. Nice close-up of the Steelbook there. It's done in the style of a magazine advert for a car. That looks great. I absolutely love that. There's the title of the film on the spine. Kind of generic looking there. The back of the Steelbook's pretty much blank except for a little signature of sorts on the bottom. Inside the case we have our 4K disc. Sadly, the back of this is just a plain red, and that's kind of boring. It does include a Blu-ray disc, although that's identical to the previously released one. Christine, of course, is the story of Arnie Cunningham, who's an ostracized nerd who doesn't get along with his parents at home. He's regularly bullied in school, and his best friend is one of the star players on the football team. It seems like nothing in Arnie's life ever goes right. But one day, on the ride home from school, he sees a beat-up old Plymouth Fury, which the owner sells to him for a bargain price, which he plans to fix up and make his own. But it's no ordinary car. Before long, Arnie starts changing and becoming a much more popular person, dating one of the most beautiful girls in school, but becoming largely isolated from his friends and family to the point that his love of Christine, this beautiful automobile, borderlines an obsession. And it's not long before he's out for revenge on the people who once tormented him. Christine is certainly an interesting story. One of my favorite Stephen King stories is Carrie, which is about a bullied girl who develops psychic powers and uses them to enact her revenge. In some ways, Christine is almost like a male version of Carrie, only Arnie Cunningham doesn't have psychic powers. He has a demonic, murderous automobile. I mean, a story about a killer car sounds a little silly on the surface, but this is actually a surprisingly good film, made very well. And of course, in the director's chair, you have John Carpenter, one of the true masters of suspense. Time magazine even called the film Carpenter's best film since the original Halloween movie, which was directed by him. Carpenter, of course, all throughout the 80s would continue to make phenomenal films. The casting in this film is absolutely excellent. You have Keith Gordon portraying Arnie Cunningham, and he plays this character great, whether he's the nerdy, ostracized, bullied kid at the beginning of the movie to the obsessive, angry young man later in the film. The transformation is actually quite shocking, and perhaps most importantly, quite believable. And you get some other great parts in the movie as well, including John Stockwell portraying his best friend and the star on the football team. Stockwell, of course, a few years later would be known for playing the role of Cougar in Top Gun, another one of my personal favorite films. There is a little bit of a who's who here. The story really is Arnie's story, but you do get supporting roles from the likes of Robert Prosky, who portrays a loudmouth, bigoted garage owner who lets Arnie store his car at the garage and rummage through his junk pile for supplies. And you even get Harry Dean Stanton showing up later in the film after the killings happen as a detective who's curious as to whether Arnie had a part in these roles. Probably the one weakness of the film is that I don't think Stanton really gets used enough. He's pretty much wasted in a minor role and only gets like 3 scenes. The musical score is also composed by John Carpenter. One thing I love about that guy, when he directs a movie, he also scores the movies with his songwriting partner, Alan Howarth, and these are always very good musical scores. There's also a great soundtrack full of old school rock and roll oldies throughout the song coming from Christine's dashboard, and these are used somewhat ironically in some of the most demonic, demented scenes of the film. This is a movie that certainly earns its R rating, but it's a great film, very well done, and in my opinion, one of the best Stephen King adaptations out there. So how does Christine look in 4K? Now, this disc only has HDR, it does not have Dolby Vision. Sony's been reissuing a lot of their older 4K releases in Steelbooks with Dolby Vision, so I bet we're probably going to get that treatment for Christine a little down the road. But as is, this is easily the best the film has ever looked. The old Blu-ray wasn't bad looking, but did look like there'd been some degree of noise reduction and possibly some other tinkering techniques that didn't look the best. There's a much wider color gamut on this 4K disc, and I'm happy to say from start to finish it actually looks pretty good. There are a few effect shots here and there that don't look the best, and I suspect there may have been some minor noise reduction used here and there, but overall, it's easily the best Christine has ever looked, and short of the film getting a reissue from Sony with Dolby Vision, it's probably the best it ever will look, but I think that's going to be okay for most fans. The 4K disc includes a teaser and theatrical trailer for the film, whereas the Blu-ray disc is identical to the previously released one aside from the different artwork. And on that disc we get a 3-part making of featurette, as well as about an hour's worth of deleted and extended scenes. Of course, those are in standard definition and don't look the best, but they are nice for archival purposes and fans will want to watch them. Christine remains one of my all-time favorite Stephen King adaptations. It's a great film, and it certainly stands the test of time. Are you a fan of Christine? Do you think it's one of the best Stephen King adaptations? What is your favorite Stephen King adaptation if it's not this one? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, remember to subscribe to this channel for more content. I'm always posting new videos. And make sure you give this one a like if you found it helpful. I'm Taylor T. Carlson. I'll see you next time.